for this video, I'm going to show you how to do a 2-story house that's using 2 points, and it will start to look something like this, and then you'll add in your own details and everything. But notice that we have our center axis, and then from that everything goes to the left and everything goes to the right. I started sketching in a road that would be going to the right, but then if we have a driveway or a road that's going to be going, say, by the house or something, it's going to go to that side. Also sketching a little tiny doghouse here, and for that it's the same as start with your center axis, and then you'll go to the right and you'll go to the left, and you'll notice the roof is obviously a little bit different angle than what this one is because it's setting a lot lower than what it is up here. So to get started, you'll want a pencil and a ruler and an eraser, and I'll be using some colored ink just to help you see and understand the placement of things. So to start with, what I would have you do, and I've already started these out, is draw your horizon line. So I would draw it across here, and then I would place a dot on the right side and one on the left side, and then the rest of this is going to be getting erased because my house is going to be right here. Then what you're going to do is draw where you want your center axis of your house to be. So what would be the corner placement of your house? So I'm going to have it right here. It's not quite in the middle of the page. You could do that if you want. It could be over here or here, more or less. And then from that, you're going to start establishing the parts of your house. We're going to start with the square part and then the triangle on top of it, just like the doghouse and the bridge. So what I'm going to do first is draw my center axis line so you can see it. I'm also going to highlight it so you understand where that line is in this project. So remember, I have my right over here and my left vanishing point over here. Then what I'm going to do is be like, okay, how far out do I want the walls of the house to be? How big is my house? So I'm going to have it go all the way over here, and I'm just doing another vertical line and another vertical line. And to help with the placement of if your ruler's tilted or not, I like lining this part of my ruler to the very bottom edge of my piece of paper, and that will help with making it vertical, just like when we were doing 1 point for the horizontal and the vertical. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this part right here, and this is my back and this is the other corner. So this is going to be kind of like where the door is and everything, but I'm going to trace these just so you can see them again. So these are all vertical lines. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to decide how tall do I want my house to be, and I'm going to have the corner of the house, so it would be that top corner, I'm going to have it above the horizon line here, just so you can see how the angle of things is going to go. So maybe I'm like a little bit about right there. So now what I'm going to do is draw a line from the top, and then one from that bottom part of how tall I want my house to be. So a line there and there, so I have part of that cube part of the house started. Then do the right side, and I did already start these on this piece of paper for you to see. Do the right top. So now I have that square part of the house started. So remember, the house is started with a square, and then you need a triangle put on top. And yes, the triangle is hanging over, because it would be like that because we want an overhang of the house. So I decided that this is going to be the front of my house. I'm going to find in between here and here where's the halfway, and I'm just eyeballing it. So I'm going to go up of however far I want my triangle, so that top of the roof. So I decided here I'm going to have it go a little bit past that corner and a little bit past this corner. So I'm going to draw a triangle. I have it a little bit of a hangover because if it stopped right here, that meant all your rain would be going straight into the walls of your house. That's why houses have an overhang, if you were not aware of why it had one. And then a little bit over here. Then what I like doing is just doing a second line on these, just to show the thickness. And this is a very skinny line, but there is a little bit of space. Because our house is made of, you know, different layers of materials, so we always have a thickness of something. What I'm also going to do is put a third line on this one, because we would be seeing, when we would look up at the house, that little piece of the house right there. So this is be considered like the shingles and stuff, and then this is that wood part. So then what we need to do is continue drawing the rest of the roof. So we want a little bit of an overhang. So we have a roof started. So I have that triangle point. I'm going to draw to the left side. Now it's not going to go all the way back here though, because it's a triangle. So I need to parallel, slide the ruler back, keep going back. So I have a little bit of an overhang right here, and then draw my line. I'll erase it right here, so now you can see how I have my house started. And I'm having this be a 2-story house, so that's what we're working on, not a 1-story house. If it was a 1-story house, it probably wouldn't be as tall. I've also started putting guidelines of things in here. So I have the height of some doors and windows, because I've already done the measurements out. So if you don't know, like, think of where your square is, find halfway, and then the door's not going to go quite halfway, but if I would do halfway, you have to think, okay, here's ceiling and here's a floor. So that will help you with the placement of your thing. So if you need to draw that line in for a guideline, go for it. So from that, I'm going to be like, okay, my door's not going to go all the way up there. I have usually, if you look at your houses, the top of the door in the inside, you still have a little bit of space until you see your ceiling. So you'll want to have that outside also. And all the sides of the doors and windows are going to be a vertical line. The tops and bottoms will go either to the right side or to the left side. So I'm going to start here with a vertical line of how tall I think the door would be. So what I'm also now going to do is draw a line going back to the right side. And notice I've went to that center axis. I'm also going to go to the left. And now this has given me the guideline here of how tall all my windows and doors are going to be. If I have doors and windows on this, it'd be the same, because most doors are the same height. So what I'm going to do from there is draw another vertical line, and I'm just going to start drawing some windows and doors. And I've already started sketching a few other things in. What I've also have thought about is, okay, I have the top of my window, where do I need my bottom of my windows to be? So for that, think about, oh, maybe halfway of the door. So I'm going to line my ruler up and just give myself a pencil guideline again. Go to that center axis, do the same on the other side. And now I have a guideline, so they're, say, all the same type of windows, all construction was done at the same time, and all the placement was done the same. So I have my vertical line that was for my door. I have the top of my door. Now I have a vertical line I'm going to draw for the bottom of my door, or the side of my door. And you can decide what kind of windows and all that you want for your house and everything. I'm going to put a second line right next to it, another vertical line. So it just shows I have a little bit of, you know, like the doors recessed just a little bit, and maybe my door handle's right there. If I was doing a window, I decide, and I'm just going to work here. So it would be vertical line. I'm going to line it up to the right side, draw there, then do the bottom part, and then another vertical line. And what I'm going to do is just fill that in just a little bit so it shows that there's a little bit of a window. And then if you have different types of windows, it would be the same way. So here I already have a top and bottom line started for my windows. Because of all those guidelines I put, I'm going to do a vertical line for this part. I'm going to go all the way almost to the edge of the house, but not quite, and do another vertical line. And for as big a space this is, I'm going to do where it's 2 windows. So now I have 2 windows. And I'm just going to make this a little bit thicker and just do a little bit thicker down here. And that way it's given dimension to my windows. Here I'm going to do a different type of window, but I already have the top started and the bottom because it's the same as that. I'm going to do a vertical line here. I'm going to go over here, do the outside, just so you can see where I'm going. Draw on top of that guideline I gave. Now I'm going to do where it's skinny windows on the outside and then like a little bit bigger window. So maybe it's like a picture kind of window. So a vertical line. I'm going to go over here, do a vertical line. And what I'm also going to do is find, say, where my halfway in between here and here is. And watch what I'm going to do. Only on the 2 smaller windows. See, these would be the windows that you could open, and that's the window that's going to stay closed. So I'm just going to do this, and then a little bit thicker at the bottom there. So here I'm going to do some other types of windows so you can see how they do them. So I'm going to use that line I gave here and the line I gave here, so it's the top of those windows and the bottom the same. So I'm going to do a vertical line for the side, vertical, vertical, and then use here. So that way you could see. It's kind of like this one. So this I did on the right side. This time I'm going to do it on the left side. And I'm still going to do the bottom. That way you can see the thickness of the windows. Here, let's do it a little bit different. Because we have to think, maybe these are, this window and this window is in the same room. This one's in a different room at the house. Maybe that's like the kitchen window or something. So now I have this. And find where halfway is. Make a little mark. Line that up to the left side. And draw my line. Now I'm going to do just a little bit thicker here. That way I'm giving my house some dimension. Up here we have, remember this is the floor division right here. So now I need to think of the different types of windows that would be in the upstairs rooms. So I've already given myself some placement, but remember this would be like the floor. So now I have some space between the floor and the ceiling. So I have some space. Where's my windows going to start for the bottom of the windows and the top of the windows? Because this would be probably the ceiling of the upstairs. So I'm going to give myself some guidelines again. So now I have the windows started, and these are going to be vertical windows, or sides for our windows. have different sizes, different amounts. Give myself a guideline for the halfway. See, these are all matching. Then here, I'm gonna give a different type of window on this one up here. So maybe it's like that, and then I'm gonna divide them in half. Because these are above the vanishing point, now I'm doing that top part. I'm still going to do the right side. Have a little bit of that. Do that same here. And then you would add in your other details. So siding is just like the other buildings, where make your guideline marks of where you want your siding to be. This is going to go back to the left side. If you are doing a brick house, draw the lines out like what would be the siding, and from that you would be adding other ones in of vertical lines, and then this is going to keep going all the way back, but I'll go ahead and do a little bit over here so you can see how to get started. So this would be going here, and then skipping. And notice how I'm lining it up to the same placement and then going back and forth. So just keep going through. So then on here is going to change the direction of them. So you can see how the siding angles are going to be changing when you're doing them. Here, I need to draw in the rest of my roof apparently. And then I'd have in siding there. Skip some of my windows. You know, and it would just keep going. If you wanted, you could even do, like some houses have those shutters, and you would draw those in. And then your roof would be still the same of draw everything back to that vanishing point and do a lot more than what I'm doing. But what you're wanting to do, and I'll change back to this one here, as you can see, you'd want to alternate them back and forth to get your steps of your siding like what we had done in our covered bridge area and our doghouse, to where you're putting the angles in here. And it is going to be a lot smaller because it is a smaller picture, but here we have all these ones alternating. So if it's on 1, 3, 5, it's going to be on 2, 4, 6 the next ones, and keep going back. And then you'll just keep going with everything. So what I'm going to show you is we need to think of, we have a sidewalk to our house, and the sidewalk is going to be, say, going out to a road, and then maybe on that road we have a driveway, and then we'll add a little tiny doghouse in. So to get started with that, I'm going to line it up to the left side, go a little bit further out past the door, and draw a line. And then I'm going to do the other side too. And that would be the start of my sidewalk. So let's say we have a little bit of a sidewalk that's going to go around the house. So is it right up against the house, or is it a little bit out? So what I'm going to do is make 2 marks here. I'm going to have it go to the right side. And that way you can see where it's going to go out and out. Now I'm going to go to the opposite side and do my steps. So when it was laid, those little lines that's in the sidewalk is what we're looking at. So you can see there's that little part. Say this sidewalk's bigger, so I'm going to, you know, just show you how you could lay out some of those to the right vanishing point. So they would be going that way. But we had a road I was showing you. So let's say here's the line for the road started. And then I'll just do all this. Say this is the road. So this is the road all through here. So what we would do for, say, a mailbox when we're doing those is a vertical line. And I'm just going to make a little rectangle here. This would go to the right, just to get that little part of the post. A rectangle, that's going to go out towards the street. Then a vertical line, this goes to the right, then back to the left, the top goes to the right, and now you have another vertical line. So that would be your little mailbox. If we had a driveway, say it's on this side over here, so I'm going to make a couple of marks, and that would give me the path. Go to the left and go to the left. And then you could even curve that off a little bit if you wanted. And then I'll color this in just so you can kind of see where it's going here. That would be your driveway. So now that we also have the house drawn, I was showing you how to do a little doghouse. So start with your vertical line here. Go to, remember, the right side, then back to the left, and this is going to be a little bit different angle than this one. Then a vertical line, go up halfway, and then keep going to draw in my triangle. That's going to go there, do parallel, and it looks like this would have a little bit too. Now, this house didn't, but you may have that in another one, so it's going to be angled like that. Then here I have a vertical, do my little arch. I'll just fill that all in black so you can kind of see. All these would be going to the right, just like the siding on the house. Then all these would be going to the left. Then you could even do like some dirt around it. You could draw your dog. Maybe the dog's inside. A little water dish, maybe. But you would draw your roof lines back, and then these would be parallel to that. And then you would just keep working. If you want to do a second garage or something, maybe this goes back behind it to where you don't see it. Maybe it's attached back there or something. Otherwise, you would draw your other building and stuff. So to help you see, I was going to draw in the rest of this, kind of color it in green. All this would have been green then. Just so you can kind of see where the land and sky would be. So then all this would be our blue sky everywhere that you have. If you were doing trees, you know, think of perspective where they would be going, the size they are, and all that type of stuff. And then You could even add in, you know, like a box of shrubbery or something. So a planter box. So start with that vertical line that goes back to that vanishing point. Vertical line. Then this goes back to your left. Vertical line. Then I would draw to the right again. Then to the left to get that top. And that's how you do your planter box. And then we could do some little greenery. If you were doing even like a deck or a patio, you would start with how far are you wanting it to come. So maybe it's like, I shouldn't have drawn that, but you know, how tall are you wanting it? Draw those out, because this would be covering our door. So you would think of that stuff first, but this is going then out this way. A vertical line, then out, and then you would do your square part. And it'd be like basically a big rectangle, and then you would have your planks and all that type of stuff. Gates and fences and everything, use those two sides and stuff. So there we go, the start of a 2-story house. Start adding in your own details. Make sure you have your roof drawn with your shingles in it, like what I was showing you, and the sidings, and make sure you have a doghouse somehow put in there. You could add a tree with a tree house. The tree house could even be going to the vanishing point if you were building like a little tiny house in it and everything. So, thank you for watching.